If you're someone who's struggling to start Airbnb, let me help you by showing you exactly how to start an Airbnb business in the US in 2026, step by step, without quitting your job or guessing your way through it. If you're working a 9-to-5, you got some debt, or if you tried other online income, things that didn't pan out. This is a playbook to build something real. I'm Johnny from JP Wisdom / Hostwise Collective. I built this Airbnb business to 5 units. Went full-time around summer 2025, and I've helped students start getting wins from co-hosted income to their first unit by focusing on the same 3 things. And that's every time: funding, credit, deal sourcing, and systems. So today, we're breaking down the exact orders to do this in 2026. What to set up first, how to pick the right path, how to find a better deal, and how to launch it without it turning into a full-time job. And at the end, I'll tell you what to do next. So I want to establish some expectations that a lot of people have in the short-term rental space. Airbnb is not a set and forget it type thing. It's systems and standards. So you have to put the right systems in place for it to be automized. For automation, you have to set those right. And you put your standards in place as well. You want to get it systemized, and you want to have your listing set all the way before you really start. 2 outcomes to avoid: random market and a random deal. You want to make sure you do your due diligence. You want to focus on one market first. You want to look at that area. You want to compare and contrast each deal you have. Write a few deals, get a few deals that you feel comfortable with. You want to make sure that you are comparing and contrasting them. Write in the pros and cons. Make sure you do the numbers, but you want to get those yeses before you really start doing the numbers. If we were speaking about rental arbitrage, what success looks like for beginners, it's getting your first unit running and then making it profitable, making profits out of it consistently. And then you're getting your money back. You're making progress on paying your credit back that you use for the units. You're making good progress. Progress is staying in the green is what it's all about. You're not just gonna pay off all your credit just in one whop. That's not realistic. But you will continuously pay it down, especially you put those systems in place and you make sure you negotiate the deal in your terms. But at the same time, make it friendly for the landlord. You have to pick your starting model. You have to have a quick decision guide. Rental arbitrage, it's faster to start, needs landlord approval, plus is good for operations. Also, I say it's the model that I'm very fond of. The only thing with this model, it has some regulations in certain areas, But the model is good, especially when you get in the groove fast. The rental arbitrage model is great for people that don't want to own the place. They don't want to take on so much risk and own the place, which is good. It's good for people that want to scale as well, faster than owning places. And sometimes people don't have as much capital like that, and it's good for that as well. So it's not as much as if you're owning a particular place. So co-hosting, it's the lowest cash to begin, and you're selling skill plus systems, and you're building credibility. But also you want to go into it with credibility. You want to make sure you know what you're talking about. Telling the landlord or another Airbnb coach, or another Airbnb host, and making sure they get the most cash flow as possible. You want to show them that you're trustworthy, that you can be trusted, and you have expertise, and that you're going to take full responsibility when things go wrong. And they don't want to have risk when they're doing this. So that's another thing. Midterm rentals. It's steadier demand in some markets, different furnishing plus guest profile, right? The furnishing, it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be a lot of colors. It doesn't have to be so decorative inside the place. Midterms have a lot of health practitioners, insurance program housing, and it's more travel nurses. It's built on the working niche. So people aren't gonna be there partying like that, like a vacationer during short-term rental. So you want to filter out what model is good for you. And this is the key components: time versus cash versus credit. Choose a model that fits your life. Build your business basics before you chase listings. Business structure basics. Keep it simple. Separate bank account, basic bookkeeping. You want to keep your insurance right. You want to keep insurance on the place. Local rules you need to respect. And why skipping this gets people cooked later. Not following the rules and regulations will get your business thrown to the water, literally. Your non-negotiables: operate cleaning, operate setup. You want to operate right, and you want to make sure you have your set cleaners. You want to have backup cleaners if anything goes wrong. This can make or break your business, because you need to have some good reviews. Your reviews is everything. So you want to make sure things are set up before you really just start. So you don't have to go inside and just, so you can refrain from as much mistakes as possible. Funding plus credit, because, most people are undercapitalized, So what to clean up first? Credit cards, utilization, late payments, errors. If you have any errors like collections or child support, if you have bankruptcies, you want to clean all that stuff up. You want to have the right credit cards as well. 0% APR initially, and what we usually tend to. Utilization wants to be lower than 10%. You don't want to have no late payments. You got to think about the business and credit funding responsible. You got to be responsible with it, not reckless. This is used to build the business. It's not used to buy designer or cars or anything like that. Any liabilities. You want to buy assets. So we got budget ranges to plan for: deposits, furnishings, setup costs, reserves. You got to put all that in account. In an Excel sheet, I will put an Excel sheet together, and you want to write down all your deposits, your furnishing. You want to keep track of all these things. Define your buy box so you stop wasting time. You want to do the property type. You want to make sure you have the right property type: bedrooms, target guests, parking needs, distance to demand drivers. All these play an account, especially as moving forward in the business. What you're not doing, you're not chasing the prettiest unit on Zillow. That's out. Okay. We need to make sure that we're practical. What are you tending? All those filters that I just said play an account of what you're looking for. Market selection. Setting up the series link, right? Quick overview of demand signals: events, hospitals, corporate stays, universities, travels. All these play an account on which market you would like to go into, right? Find your niche. What niche you want to go into, and if this area is good for that niche. Why nice area isn't data, right? Because you never know. Sometimes places that are in more of the inner city urban hoods, if you will, sometimes they do good. You know what I'm saying? So it's not always a nice area that's going to do good. So think about it like that. And also, the next video I have for you guys is the full breakdown on choosing a market plus validating demand. So you guys want to tune into that. So deal sourcing. This is where beginners usually freeze. So where to find opportunities? Landlords, agents, Facebook groups, networking, direct outreach. Networking events are good. Apps like Zillow, Redfin, apartments.com. Try to find landlord ran or leasing agent ran. That's how you'll have the most impact. Why outreach scripts plus value matters more than motivation? Well, outreach scripts help you build that confidence, and it helps you stay in the right structure so you know what you're talking about. You don't want to go in there stuttering and unconfident, and they're not going to know that you know what you're talking about. So, that's the importance of it. The mindset. Rejection is normal. Systems make it predictable. You have to have systems in place. The right systems in place can overpower motivation. Landlord pitch, right? How to get a yes in 2026. Very important. What landlords actually care about: risk, maintenance, payment reliability, and communication. They need to know, hey, is this worth the risk? Or is this too risky? They need to know all the ins and outs. They want to know all the information, because they don't want to go into something that they're left in the dry. They want to make sure you're reliable as well. The most important thing, they want to make sure that payment's on time, and they don't want their place to be trash. That's understandable. The pitch structure you have to implement, right? Who you are, to how you protect their asset, to how they get paid, to proof. What's the proof? What's the works? What's the fruits? That's the most important part of it. So you need to make sure that you tell them what it is. You need to make sure, hey, even if we don't make a quota, you're still gonna get paid. Hey, if this happened or this happened, Airbnb has a $1 million insurance on it. They'll get paid for it, just like that. Items or damages will get paid for on spot. You don't have to pay for them. Those are the things that they're going to be relieved when hearing. Permission and clauses you must get right, and what to avoid so you don't get burned later. So you have to make sure that you have permission to do a sublease. Very important. When you go against the contract, you could be liable for that. You can financially, and it can ruin your business. You can get sued for this. So in clauses, you must get right. Permission and clause, you must get right. So you got to make sure you're right with the regulations. You have to make sure that you follow the regulations. The regulations are very important. And you must comply with regulation. You must comply with the clauses that you see in the leasing agreement or any agreement with permits. You have to follow. This is important. Deal analysis. How to avoid getting emotional. You have to run comps properly, occupancy, ADR, seasonality, comparable properties. You have to get these right. You have to make sure you jot these down on an Excel sheet and look over them. You have to make conservative numbers when you analyze a deal. Cleaning, utilities, management, consumables, maintenance, vacancies, right? These all have to be played in account. Keep the numbers conservative, realistic, because if it only works on a perfect month, it doesn't work. Don't do the deal. Setup plus design that prints bookings and without overspending, right? So you don't want to overspend. Furnishing budget. You need to stay in the furnishing budget. You don't want to get too emotional, and when you get out the furnishing budget, that's where you're thinking you don't want to get outside the furnishing budget, because you want to make sure that you're able to get your money back in time, so we can start really making good profit, so we can be all the way in the green. That's the important thing in business, is to be in the green all the time. And you're not going to know about that stuff unless you keep track of it as well. Design principles that work in 2026. Comfort, lighting, photos, like guest-proof choices. You need to make sure that colors complement each other. Put some plants in there, some ficas. Have a good mirror. The mirror makes it so the unit looks bigger. Put some rose in there. Make sure you have it roomy. Add candles as well. You have to make sure it feels just like home. The go. A listing that looks premium without being fragile. Make it look as much premium as possible without breaking the budget. That is your goal when you design. Systems that keep you off your phone, right? This is where the automation comes in. Cleaner plus turnover checklists, guest messaging templates, review systems. This is important. You have to make sure you have good cleaners, that they're on time and they're on point. The guest messaging templates, the AI should send it right when the trigger standpoint goes. Right when it's triggered, the AI sends the message. Check in, check out. The second day the guest is in there, it's a checkup message, to check on the guests. These are very helpful. Review system. Make sure AI sends the message, hey, can we get a review? Ask for the review. That's important as well. Automations, pricing, message sequences, issue escalation, right? Pricing, dynamic pricing, making sure it stays competitive in the market, in the particular area. AI will do that for you. Message sequences, right? So that's when a message replies when they ask certain questions, like where things are at, where this is at, what to do when this happens. These questions should be answered by AI as well, because AI can look at your past messages to see what you said when replying to guests. So that's important as well. And with issues, sometimes you want to reply yourself. AI doesn't always have the right answer for everything, but AI can do like 85% of the messaging. 80 to 85% of the messaging, for sure. Your standard operating rhythm, weekly checks, monthly KPI reviews. That goes to what I said about the Excel sheet. Make sure you have this written down and you have to check up on it weekly, to make sure your whole month needs to be in review. Go down the list. Make sure you stay up to par with the seasonality. You need to get on point. Yeah, this just goes well with just operating. This is a great rhythm to operate, so it can come as habit. So it can be habit, The launch plan, man. The launch plan right here, right? So soft launch, pricing, review strategy, handling feedback fast. So, of course you want to maybe do some deals in your first launch, so you can just start getting your listing out there. Airbnb pushes your new listing in the algorithm when you first start. You have review strategies. The reviews, to make sure you get your reviews down, you ask for a review. You have AI ask for a review all the time after each booking. You have AI ask the guests, hey, anything we need to work on, please put it in the private feedback section. And then handling that feedback is fast. Make sure it's fast. Make sure you see that feedback and correct it within your listing. So what do you have to track? Occupancy, ADR, revenue, cost, profit, review score, cancellations. This is important. When to scale? Only when systems are stable and standards are repeatable, right? The business funding that you use, making sure that the systems are able to pay for it, that you can put your bill down with your payouts. Once you pay most of your debt down, then you're able to get another unit. The wrap up, right? This is the wrap up, the recap of the video. So this is the order that you want to focus on: model, basics, funding, market, deal, setup, systems, to launch. All in that order. Also, watch out for the next video, how to choose a market plus validate demand. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.